Gentlemen, it's time to put our final stamp of approval on a few running backs today.
Yes.
We're getting incredibly close to the season.
Yes.
This is dropping, I believe, we're recording it today on Monday. It should be Monday. That means we're 10 days from the season, which is banana lands. Awesome. So for me, I'm circling back, going back to a guy that I have talked about before. I know Cole's doing the same. Ryan is not, which is a good thing. Back to the well. But again, this is our last chance to kind of tell you guys how much we love these guys, that you should be taking them. Let us know if you're in some drafts actively. Let us know how they went, what you're thinking, where you're picking, when they are. I would love to hear that. If you are smart, you're drafting the week of the NFL season, so there's as little risk to your team as possible. But anyways, if you have not entered the giveaway, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Okay? Jersey giveaway. Jersey of your choice. Whatever you want. I would recommend Jameson Williams Detroit Lions jersey.
Aaron Jones Green Bay Packers jersey.
Yeah, Tyler Algier Atlanta Falcons jersey. Number 30. 25. No.
We all chose a player not from our favorite team too. That was interesting. Good for us. And then also, if you have not played Lightning lineups on OwnersBox yet, I don't know why you haven't.
Yeah, I never know what they're doing.
It's fantastic. It mixes some of the best aspects of fantasy sports and DFS and some of your favorite parts of sports betting. Roll the tape. The most electric way to play fantasy sports this season. Lightning Lineups presents you with 3 teams of 3 players. Find the trio you think will score the most fantasy points, or spin the wheel to generate a new matchup. Love your lineup? Add more opponents to increase your payout. Submit your entry for free and make your way to the pay zone. Yes, free entry. Make sure you get in. Link is in the description to OwnersBox, and the link is also down below for the jersey giveaway. All you have to do, subscribe, and then send us a DM on Twitter or send me a message in our Discord, and you will be entered. But go download the OwnersBox app. Do it right now. Let us get to the players. Ryan, tell the people who they need to be drafting. This is your must draft. This is the running back that you need to have. Who is it?
This is Saquon Barkley's comeback year. I'm telling you, draft him, reach on him. I'm taking him before Leonard Fournette, Aaron Jones, and Nick Chubb. I know this is starting to get a little public, but Saquon's going back to the well in his rookie season this year.
That's a deep back. That's not even a back to the well. That's a back to the well.
That's back to the well. 1,500 plus all-purpose yards, 15 touchdowns in his rookie year. I think he can match those numbers this year with all the good things going the Giants' way kind of in the offseason. Brian Dable, they massively upgraded the offensive line with additions like John Feliciano, Mark Lewinsky. They drafted Evan Neal, who's going to be really good, huge body on the outside. And then I think giving Andrew Thomas another year to develop will definitely help them this year. Reports from camp are saying the strength of this offensive line actually lies in their run blocking. So I think that's definitely advantageous for Saquon Barkley's fantasy value. And both Dable and Danny Dimes has used the word explosive to describe Saquon Barkley. And I think after last year was a wash after his injury. I think he had some lingering injuries last year as well. But I think this year he's really ready to go. He looks great in camp, like I've mentioned. And really the guys behind him, like Matt Breida and Gary Brightwell, who are also kind of banged up already to start the year, his volume is going to skyrocket. And we've seen him when he's fully healthy and playing in a full season. He was awesome at Penn State, awesome in his rookie year. I think he'll also be heavily involved in the passing game once again. Last year, his targets were a little bit down, but in his first 2 years in the league, he had just under 200 targets, which is nuts for a running back. And I think you can kind of chalk that up recently, his production over the last 2 years, to Joe Judge and Jason Garrett being the ones in charge of the offense. And one interesting thing that a lot of people think too, his efficiency might have gone down a little bit, but in 5 games last season when Barkley played a full snap share with Daniel Jones under center, he averaged 16.2 fantasy points per game in PPR leagues. I'm telling you, this guy is going to be great this year. His ADP right now is 209-ish, which is end of the second round, obviously. I think you could take him middle of the second round, even early in the second round. I wouldn't take him before guys like Alvin Kamara. I think that's where I draw the line. But Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette, and even Aaron Jones, a guy that Cole's going to be talking about, I think is they're all great guys, all great running backs, but Saquon will have better seasons than them.
Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah, I'm in on Saquon too, not to the same extent. I'm obviously talking about Aaron Jones, so I don't think Saquon's better than Aaron Jones, but I think he's better than the other guys there, Fournette, Nick Chubb, and them. And that's, as you said, that's on the receiving ability. Him, same as my pick, Aaron Jones. I'm picking them on their receiving ability and what they can do in PPR formats. My question is, does the injury concerns, do you bake that into his ADP at all with guys like Chubb and Jones
it's not.
who don't get hurt?
Yeah, it's not baked into his ADP. Like there's no consideration anymore of the fact this guy hasn't played.
But he still played 13 games last year. Just like he played half of games and barely played some games,
Which is a pain in the ass for your fantasy team.
For sure. But it's like you have Christian McCaffrey as your running back 101.
Sure, but then why isn't Michael Thomas going in the third round? He was the best receiver
in the
NFL 4 years ago.
He hasn't played in like a year and a half.
Sure, but I know. But I agree. But it's the same. It's the same situation, sort of.
Same concept. I've talked about Saquon as a do not draft guy. I do think I still have Saquon. You would have seen it earlier. He's still my RB like 15. I can't do it. I can't spend a second round pick with the risk that is inherited with this guy when it comes to injuries. Like in a best case scenario, maybe Saquon's a top 5 guy. The reason I have Christian McCaffrey as the 101 is that I know if that guy plays 16 games, doesn't matter what happens, he's going to be the number 1 running back in fantasy football. Saquon, I can't say the same. I listed a number of things. I'm definitely not completely out on the guy. I just think this is so early and so much risk. I'll link that video down below in the description if you guys haven't checked it out. It was from a few weeks ago. But I think that's kind of all we'll go with from there. I definitely could see a massive season coming for him. He's a talented player, but is he still as explosive as he was in his rookie year? I don't think so, with the ankle injuries, with the knee injuries. Those are concerns when it comes to being able to stay and continue to be as explosive as he was years ago.
Yeah, so my guy, as I've mentioned, is Aaron Jones. The Packers offense is undergoing a huge change in the offseason. Obviously, Devontae Adams leaving. They really have no true wide receiver options. It's Allen Lazard, who's never had over 500 receiving yards. Christian Watson, who I'm pretty sure is hurt in camp and hasn't been amazing reviews about him. He doesn't seem to be ready. Romeo Doubs, Randall Cobb, but there's no real receiving options I love at their actual receiving positions. So that's where I see Aaron Jones coming in. And my bold prediction that I've said many times is that I think he will lead the Packers in receptions this season. He was second last year on the Packers in targets and receptions with 65 receptions and 65 targets and 52 receptions. And as we talked about in a video a few weeks ago, Aaron Jones is a guy who will have 150 carries and 60 receptions. And we talked about that as a tier of the other guys in that tier were Leonard Fournette last year, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara.
Najee Harris did it last year too.
Guys who do that are top 10 running backs consistently and most usually are top 5 running backs.
Yeah, as long as they don't get hurt. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones is a guy who hasn't been hurt in his years. Unlike Saquon Barkley, which I was saying, Aaron Jones is a guy who's not going to get hurt. You know he's going to play most of the games. The thing people are worried about is A.J. Dillon taking his snaps and, more importantly, his carries, which I will think is going to happen. Dillon is going to take his carries. Dillon will probably have more carries than him, but I think he will run way more routes. He's going to line up at receiver in the slot, and he's going to do way more for this offense than he did last year. So purely on his receiving ability, he's going to run for the Packers 100-plus times, but I'm drafting him completely on his receiving ability.
Yeah. I mean, A.J. Dillon is a guy I like this year, but I think Aaron Jones fitting in this offense in a receiving role will do fantasy owners well. So I don't think, because you have him as what, your RB8, I think, Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
That's a little high for me. I have him as my RB12. Like I would take Saquon before him. But then other than that, I would still take Nick Chubb, but I would take Aaron Jones before Leonard Fournette. So I do like him in the offense. It's the fact that there's, like you said, there's really not anyone else there that has built a relationship with Aaron Rodgers other than Randall Cobb, who's on the outs of his career, and Allen Lazard. So I like Aaron Jones, but I'm definitely not as invested in him as you are.
Yeah, I'd just rather take A.J. Dillon. He's just later, 6th round. I think he's going to catch some passes. Then I think he's going to score the touchdowns in the red zone. But Aaron Jones, certainly someone. I'm taking him before I take Saquon. So I'm more on him than Ryan is. And I think you make some really good points. I mean, the reception totals, he's going to exceed 60 receptions, which is a formula, like you said, for success for fantasy running backs. Last guy, let's get to Chase Edmonds. He's currently going as the running back 35 still. Seems like he's he's starting to back up even. There's some guys that are sneaking ahead of him, usually, the Seattle running backs, for example. Going in the 8th round, I'm really excited about this opportunity for him because I think he's being tremendously undervalued as the running back 35 and has the formula, which is reception totals and being able to put together, 10 plus touchdowns is going to get you the precipice of an RB1 top 12 season. Tua had the 4th lowest average depth of target in the NFL last season, but he had one of the lowest running back target rates. What that tells me is that this team went to fill a need with a running back that can get open and is reliable at the position for Tua to be able to target at the position, because Myles Gaskin, I think, led the team in receptions. There was an utter lack of skill and has been for a while in Miami at the running back position. And Edmonds demands targets as a pass catcher. He had a 13.7% target share, which was 4th among running backs, and a 1.64 yards per route run, which ranked 9th. This guy, when he's on the field, just demands targets, demands opportunity, which is really good in an offense with a quarterback who doesn't push the ball downfield. And then we've got a guy like Tyreek Hill to stretch the field and a one for defenses to be paying a lot of attention to. That can open up those opportunities for Edmonds. And then I'm looking at Mike McDaniel coming in as the head coach. This offense is going to change drastically. Miami ran the ball inside the red zone at just a 37% rate last season. That was one of the highest passing rates in the NFL, one of the lowest running rates. But San Francisco was up to 45% run rate, which was, I believe, right around 12th in the NFL, right in the middle of the pack. And I want to compare this to Arizona, which had James Conner had that huge year in terms of touchdown totals. This was pretty similar to the Cardinals, who ran the ball 48% rate in the red zone. I think the Dolphins are going to run the ball in the red zone a hell of a lot more with Mike McDaniel now being the head coach, and Teron Armstead at left tackle can help them be better running the football, because unfortunately they were one of the worst running teams or the worst run blocking teams in the NFL. But you know who was worse than, but you know who was just as bad was actually the Cardinals. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL in run blocking. But Chase Edmonds, his true yards per carry was 9th in the NFL, and his breakaway run rate of 6% was 11th in the NFL. This guy was successful and efficient in a scheme that didn't block well for him. So he could still be efficient. He needs to score, but I think he has the pass catching upside, which is even better. And this is a guy, to me, that you cannot miss on as a running back going in the 8th round. For all those 0 RB guys out there, this is your man to get in the 8th round if you are going wide receiver heavy in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up some great points, but I don't know.
As I always do, Ryan.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm not sold on the Dolphins running back in fantasy just yet. Over the years, the last guy that comes to mind that's had a good finish in the Miami Dolphins offense, and I know it's different coaches, so who knows what can happen, is J.J., and that was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So But
we've got a head coach here who comes from a coaching tree that's going to run the football. It's been proven. Look at Matt LaFleur. He comes from that Shanahan scheme. He's running the ball. Who else am I missing? Well, Shanahan himself doesn't come. He's not the original of this tree. He runs the ball a ton. We look at McShay. He likes to run the ball a good amount too. Like this coaching tree runs the football. So I think they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, I'm not in on him. I have him lined up at his ADP. I think it's fine, but I'm putting a little bit more stock into guys like Rashad Penny and stuff. I just think there's I wonder what they're going to do with Tua this year. I feel like they're going to put a lot of trust into it to kind of show that he is that elite quarterback, and maybe they don't run the ball as much. Maybe they run the ball to help him a little bit. it's not a guy that I'm looking at really too much. Sorry.
Yeah, I have him pretty much.
That's okay, brother.
I have him pretty much at his ADP too, and my question is really about the Dolphins running back room. It's a pretty full room. You have Edmonds. Is Myles Gaskin still there?
No, yeah. the focus would. Yeah, but the focus would be on Raheem Mostert and Sony Michel.
Mostert is the guy I'm really scared of. But
yeah, and I think
never stayed healthy.
The guy's Chase Edmonds, never been able to play. He's just not also a red zone running back.
In his career, he's been a pass catching back.
Yeah.
But
so Sony Michel, I think will.
Sony Michel is a guy that I will if I don't end up with Chase Edmonds, if somebody sneaks ahead and grabs him before I can, Sony Michel is a perfect.
Oh yeah.
Handcuff sleeper type guy that could steal some red zone opportunities. I don't disagree, but I do think that the bare minimum Edmonds pass catching upside for a quarterback that has a low ADOT is going to return me value on this pick regardless. But Mike McDaniel handpicked this guy. I keep saying that to you guys. I think that's really valuable and really important.
Whatever. Anyway.
Well, we can disagree.
I know. Brother. But you keep saying handpicked. He
signed him. Free agent.
He signed him. He went to Chase Edmonds' house in Hamsburg, Pennsylvania, and found him. And
Well, I
said,
would assume if you hire the head coach, you let the head coach make some personnel decisions, right?
sure.
It's not gonna. He's gonna have his ear in his mouth in the GM's ear.
Yeah,
on these
I guess
types
so.
of things.
I guess so. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We are going
I
to
think-
see very soon.
I think
Brian.
I think he'll
We'll see very
exceed.
soon.
I think he can very well exceed his
That's
ADP.
right, yeah.
But I don't know about how much. And I'm like in terms of must draft, he's not a must draft in this big brain up here. So of mine.
You got a big brain. You got a big brain. All right. Again, go check out the giveaway. All the notes on that for the jersey and site credit down in the description. Subscribe. Send us a DM proving your subscription, and we are good to go. That giveaway will be awarded very soon. And again, check out all of our written content. That link will be somewhere down below in the description as well. Lots of links for you to check out. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.